I came here to heal, I came here to grow. Lesson in love, they helped me let go. I chose this path, I chose this time. Everything I need, I hold inside. I came here to heal, I came here to grow. Lesson in love, they helped me let go. I chose this path, I chose this time. Everything I need, I hold inside. Welcome and welcome back to another episode of Rebuilding Me, the Art of Starting Again. With me, Tisha Michelle, your host. All right, y'all. So today we're going to dive into something that can feel heavy, uncomfortable, and to some even taboo. But it's also one of the biggest teachers in our lives: money. Now, before you guys pull back or get a little intense, I want you to stay with me because this isn't just going to be a conversation about numbers in your bank account. This is about It's about your relationship with money. And that starts with the beliefs that you grew up with, the patterns you inherited, the vows you made to yourself, even when you didn't even realize you were making them. So here's the truth. When we're in the middle of rebuilding or reinventing ourselves, it's so easy to feel like we can't move forward. We can't move forward because of money. We may say things like, I can't leave this job. I need the money. I can't pivot. I'm not able to start again because the numbers aren't adding up. And trust me, I get it. Like, I really get it. So, money isn't just paper, it isn't just numbers on a screen. Money is actually energy. And energy doesn't come with labels. Energy just is. It flows, it moves, it shifts depending on how we direct it, right? And we are the ones, meaning as people, as governments, as business owners, as individuals who assign the value to it. So, like, think about it. $1 bill and $100 bill are made of the same thing. The only difference is what we've agreed they mean. And when you really sit with that, it's wild behavior because that means the difference between you feeling like $100 is easy and $1,000 is impossible has nothing to do with money itself. It has everything to do with your beliefs. So let me share this with you. My coach at the time, the one who actually trained me to become a certified professional hypnotist and, working with the subconscious and the conscious mind and the nervous system and all that good stuff. She said she was sitting with a mentor of hers that she learned hypnosis from, and she was like, I really just have this one question. How did you go from pricing your services from $500 to $5,000? And he said, easy. I just added a zero. That's it. And for her, and honestly for me, when I first heard it, was mind blowing because we think making more money has to be complicated. We think we need permission, a strategy, a million steps. But sometimes it's really just that simple. You decide, and the world often rises up to meet that decision. So he decided that his services was worth $5,000 and no longer worth $500. And society backed it up. People were booking. She said that he said people were actually booking quicker because they perceive the value of what it is that he can do and the transformation that he can help them with super high because the fact that it was $5,000. You see how that works? All right, so now I'm going to get a little personal with you, something I don't normally do. Um, because I've had to do my own deep work around money. And what I've learned is that most of our money wounds didn't start with us. For me, it started way early. So when I was 14, I met my dad for the first time. And I remember saying to like his siblings, nieces, nephews, just anybody that wanted to listen, my daughter doesn't have to ask anybody for anything. And at 14, it felt powerful. I'm 14. My prefrontal cortex is not even fully developed. So I'm just like, yeah, you damn right I don't. 14. Talking about you damn right I don't. But underneath that, it planted a seed that asking for help meant weakness, that needing something from someone meant opening yourself up to rejection. So what did I do? I didn't ask. I worked harder. I carried more than I needed to. I made life harder than it had to be just to avoid the possibility of rejection. Isn't that wild behavior? But to my defense, I didn't know any better, right? And here's the thing, that shows up in money too. It's not just about asking for help, it's also about receiving, right? So there's that receiving wound. So if you've ever struggled to receive, whether it's money, help, or even something as simple as a compliment, you may have a receiving wound. Think about this, right? Someone compliments your outfit and you immediately say, "Oh, this old thing," or "Oh my gosh, I got it on sale," right? Or someone praises your work and you instantly throw the spotlight back on them. "Oh, no, 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 you're amazing." Or someone tries to give to you and you feel this urge to shrink, deflect, or push it away, like, "Oh, no, 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 I couldn't possibly take that from you." Why not? But that's not humility. That's your nervous system saying receiving is dangerous, like danger, danger. And if your system perceives receiving as dangerous, and guess what? It's going to block the flow of money too. Because money is one of the most direct forms of receiving. We live in a capitalistic world, right? So then there's this other wound, this just enough wound. So it didn't stop with my dad. I also grew up watching the women in my family and how they handled money. So my grandmother was on a fixed income and she paid every single bill on time without fail, period. I used to look at her and think, how you doing this? This is wild. This is wild behavior. Like you are on a fixed income, but yet you're never late and you're able to take care of everything. That's just wild because yeah, I got more than that, but yeah, bills is late. I'm trying to figure things out. This doesn't even make any sense. And then my mom, she would say, as long as my bills are paid, I'm good. Right? Now, listen, there was so much strength and so much responsibility and so much pride in both of their approaches. But here's the thing, what I absorbed from that was the belief in just enough, not overflow, not ease, not abundance, just enough. And so what happened? That became my set point. That was where my thermostat stayed at. So no matter what I did, I would always create just enough. And the thing is you may sit there and be like, well, yeah, I mean, I'd be happy if I could just have enough just to cover, the bills. But that's what we're worth more than that. But it's also, if you really think about it, getting like just enough, it becomes a stressful cycle. So, like for me, it would be right around the same time of the month, not even the end of the month. It's maybe around like the 20th or so. Like reality starts to hit in that, oh my gosh, bills are going to be due in another like 2 weeks, right? And it's like, oh, and then you start stressing. And then you hit the goal, or maybe you don't actually hit the goal when maybe the goal is to cover the bills, but maybe you're still short. So then you get on a payment plan or you push something back, and then that cycle just keeps going, and you get just enough. You get either just enough or you might be like a little bit short, but I'll pick it up on my next paycheck and then I'll just push that back again because now that new bill done hit on that cell phone bill or that cable bill or whatever it may be, right? Or an unexpected thing comes up and it's just enough, but it's never enough to give you breathing room. It's never enough for you to feel like, oh wow, we got to pay rent again. It feels like forever since I paid rent. We're like, oh my God, what do you mean rent or mortgage is due again? I just paid it. This is insane. But remember, I envied that. And there was nothing wrong with it. It was just setting a belief for me where I was like, dang, like, how is grandma able to do that? Which is a skill though. And I still envy it, and especially some of those times where I've gone through and I didn't even have enough to pay the bills and I've had to cycle it over to it. And it's like, dang, how did my grandmother do this? But I made that the thermostat, like that's where it's set. Like in your house, you might have your thermostat set on 7 and you tell people don't touch it. Don't touch the thermostat. I have it set perfect. But that's all that you know as that perfect feeling as 70, because you haven't adjusted to 68 or adjusted it to 71. 71, Lordy, 71, that's perfect to you. So my thermostat was set at just enough, being able to pay your bills, and you were good. But then I also went a little bit further. I talked about this on another episode, where that belief of like I didn't want to be rich. And that's why, and that, when I think back to that, that is how I truly know that your girl Tisha Michelle is a powerful manifester, because I said this out loud to myself, to anybody that was listening, to friends, and I said, I do not want to be rich. I just want to be comfortable. And it was because I had a belief that rich people were assholes. They were just nasty people. They just weren't good people. And I was like, I don't want to turn into someone who's not a good person because I got money. But that was because I didn't understand it back then. But I'm such a powerful manifester, because guess who did not become rich? Yes, ding, 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 me right here. And I had to change that. And that started a couple of years ago, when I started really getting a lot more in tune and then understanding that those beliefs of money doesn't grow on trees, but isn't money made out of paper? Or the money is the root to all evil. That was that main one, is that you're just going to become evil. But no, money actually enhances who you actually are. So if you're a good person and you're very generous, you're going to get money and you're going to do so much, but you're going to do it on a bigger scale, where you may have helped this person out in your family, or a friend, or maybe even slid something to like a homeless person. But when you get like a lot more money, you're going to do the same thing. You either maybe you'll start your own nonprofit, or maybe you'll donate to a nonprofit, or you'll go into, you know, a homeless shelter and say you want to supply food for the next 3 months, or whatever the case may be, or clothing and all this stuff. It's just gonna highlight more of who you actually are. It's not gonna turn you into something. Now, if those tendencies and those things is there, I mean, you already knew they was there. You knew you was a little shady McGrady. No, I'm just kidding. All right. Okay, so let me bring it back. So now I want to talk about scarcity. So when you think about scarcity, you might imagine someone that's hoarding their money and they're holding it tight. Like they never want to spend a dime on anything, right? Because but for many of us, scarcity looks the opposite. So for me, scarcity meant the moment money came in, I got rid of it fast. Why? Because deep down, I didn't believe more was coming. So I had to stretch what I had. I had to cover everything I could, take care of, or take care of everyone I could before it ran out. So there wasn't no saving, because saving required me to trust that more would come. And I didn't. You see how that is? So scarcity didn't look like holding on. It looked like spending it fast. It looked like my nervous system saying, this is the last drop, so I'm going to need you to use it wisely. And that cycle, it was exhausting. So another part of that scarcity of me wanting to get rid of it quickly, I actually had this realization doing my own inner work, was when I was in the military. And if you didn't know that, I was in the Army, yes. Um, we get paid on the 1st and the 15th. And I don't remember if it was the 1st or the 15th, but I got a deposit. And that deposit was damn near 3 to 4 times what I would normally get. So I was like, where does money come from? Um, yeah, so all this money was in there. And I was like, what? But it was time for me to like pay bills, go shopping, do things. So, I did. And then I got this notification that they made a mistake and they switched my pay with some it was like a master sergeant or something. And at this point I was a private for sure. I don't know if I was E2 or E3. So I was at the beginning level. So my pay definitely wasn't looking like that. So it was this whole like investigation thing, just like the military does, just being dramatic. Like, bro, you see it was a mistake, pull the money out, keep it moving. So anyway, so they had to take the money out because it was not my money. So I had all this money in there, and then it was gone. Then I remembered another time. Actually, I was younger. I didn't connect this until afterwards, but the military thing was after this one. But I remembered it afterwards. Hopefully, I didn't just confuse you because I confused myself. Um, but I remember my account being connected to like my grandmother's, and didn't know like my aunt's was connected. And then like I'm like young, and there's like all this money in my account. I'm like, where does money come from? This is crazy. So then I'm like telling them, and then my aunt's like, I just put a deposit. Did they mess up or something? Well, the bank messed up. The bank messed up and had her money that she had deposited into my account. So I actually did not have that money. Now I knew that I didn't put that money in and I didn't work for it, but hey, it's in my account. What the heck? So they had to pull that money out. So what ended up happening was those were beliefs that if I get this large amount of money or get this extra overflow of money, someone's going to take it. So part of that scarcity thing is before someone can take this from me, I need to get rid of it. So see, these were like these beliefs that I had that just built upon, and now they're ingrained in me. And there's that nervous system is afraid that if you get a lot of money, someone's going to take it away. So either one, that money does come, I need to get rid of it, or two, I self-sabotage so I don't get it. So that way nobody can take it from me if I don't have it. Now none of that makes logical sense, right? Of course not. But this is how beliefs work. Most of our beliefs aren't ours, they come from someone else. We just took them in as truth, and then we built upon it. So you either validate a belief or you invalidate a belief. And this is why, like, if you've ever, let's just say, woke up on the wrong side of the bed, right? You got up or you was just late and you jumped up, startled you, you're trying to get everything together, you hit your foot, you're going to like open, the door, something gets caught on it. And now all these little things keep happening and you're like, see, see, like something bad's always happening to me. Like you're literally just anchoring that belief in, but in actuality, what it was that you confused yourself. You were startled, you jumped up, and now you're discombobulated. So you don't see the thing that's been there every single day. So you hit it. You didn't even realize like you're like, oh, I'm trying to hurry up and get in here, but I have this on here, and it's just like everything is just like confused and just jumbled up, and you're not grounded, you're not in a clear state of mind because you're in panic and it's like danger, 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 right? But then you turn around and say like something's always happening. So now you're validating this belief, right? And it's like, no, if you actually think about it and accept responsibility for the role that you played, you would actually see what that is versus just taking this belief to be true. And you're just running with it. All right, so let's tie this back to what I said when I mentioned earlier about capacity. Um well, basically money is energy, right? And you the listener, and me, we're the ones who gets to decide the story. Overflow is your inheritance, period. Not survival, not just enough, but overflow. Shameless plug. And if you want a little daily reminder of that truth, I want you to go grab my Overflow is My Inheritance t-shirt at tishamichelleofficial.com. Because when you wear it, you're declaring to yourself and the world, I am rewriting my money story, right? All right, back on track. Um, Capacity, right? Money is energy, and we are the ones who decides the story. So if you've ever noticed that no matter how much you make, you always seem to come back to the same number in your bank account, that's not a coincidence. And I don't know about you, but I don't believe in coincidence anyway. That's your subconscious set point. Your body, your nervous system, your beliefs, they all come together to decide what's safe. Yeah, they just be sneaky back there, like just doing their own thing, whatever. And that's why people win the lottery and they lose it all. I know you've heard those stories because it's not about money management, it's about money capacity. And here's the thing, your capacity can expand, but it doesn't expand by hustling harder. It expands by rewriting your story. So if you have that belief, and that belief is, I have to work hard for money, then you're always going to be searching for the hard, and it's not going to become, there's no easy, there's no ease. So I'll give you another insight, like for me, of how that works. The easiest money that I've ever made in my life, I'm 45, guys, that I've ever made in my life was when I started to use my spiritual gifts. And that started in 2019, right? So my best friend, Gloria died the end of, well, I say, for the OG listeners from Seeing With Your Soul. She died the end of December, January of December 29th, 2017. So then January of 2018 is where that awakening started. And then little things, it was really kind of like searching more, and things was just like, adding up. The end of 2018, I went to Egypt for 10 days. That was a life-changing event. When I got back from Egypt, I canceled my cable. And I've never had cable since then. I've only had Wi-Fi, and then we started getting different streaming things. But I canceled my cable because it was such a big bill. I want to say I was paying like 300 something dollars. I had boxes for every freaking room, even if we weren't even in the room. Um, we weren't watching any of those shows, but it was just this perceived thing that, what you mean you don't have a cable? Because you can't afford cable? It was one of those beliefs that you felt successful or you felt something because you have cable, but if you don't have cable, like, that's boring, that's this, even though logically you watch the same damn channels and you can get them on streaming. But I got rid of the cable because when I was in Egypt, and I remember cruising down the aisle, the Nile, and across from us, and we were on the boat and we're on the Nile, and across there was like this little kid, and I don't know if it was her father or grandfather, and he was just waving and was like, hello, hello. So we're just like waving back, and it's just so cute to like see the excitement. And he didn't have any shoes on, and just had like this like cloth material, like just very just basic, but just like freeing. And in that moment, I was just thinking about how happy they look with the little that they have. And I say the little that they have, that wasn't just a judgment. This was through like the tour guide and them talking about the history and where the people were, and how that whole thing was. And I was like, and back in the States, my kids got iPhones, iPod, because that was like the iPod. They got PlayStations. They just got all this stuff. We have all these channels that we would never even probably flip through every channel that we have. And I just thought about how they have so little, in a sense of like materialistic and stuff that we consider to have a lot. And yet they are so happy, which means they really actually do have a lot, right? So when I got back, I was like, I need to make a change. And it was a cable. And I got rid of the cable. And that was in, like I said, the end of 20 that was decided. I went to Egypt in November of 2018, and December was when I got rid of the cable. And people would say like, oh my gosh, I would love to go. Like, did you have fun? And I said, it wasn't fun. I said it was a life-changing experience that I think that everybody should experience. Oh, I cannot afford that. I said, well, do you have cable? And they say, yeah. I said, cut your cable, and that money, act like you're continuing to pay that bill, but put it into a separate account, or you go ahead and start the process to book the trip. And you save that money for that whole year. You can go on this trip because it really wasn't that expensive. Now, this was back then. There's a lot of ways like around that. And even when I booked the flight, you get to put it on basically like layaway. So I said, you can put this on, and the earlier you book it, like far out in advance, the more you're able to like pay on it. So if you're paying 300 something dollars like I was for cable, you now pay on this trip to be able to go and just don't have any cable. And you'll be amazed that once you let go of the feeling like you're not successful because you don't have cable, or what are people going to think if they come over? Do people come over your house anyway? Like, watch TV at their own house. So anyway, so that started to change some of my thought process around success and around money and what that actually looked like. So I had two people that actually did end up going to visit um, Egypt. One of them did do the cable. Another one also did the cable, but I can't remember what else they said they cut back on. They stopped doing something and took that money, and that money they said they put it into a savings account that wasn't connected to their checking, so they didn't have easy access to it. And I don't remember what it was, but it was a small amount. um but every month they put that there, and she said that that's what she was going to use for spending money. So instead of just mindlessly purchasing things here, she took that money and put it over there, so when she went to Egypt she didn't feel restricted. And I was like, okay, all right, that's what's up. So yeah, I just wanted to like share that with you. So even if you're in a space right now and you're like, I don't know if I have a scarcity thing, but I know I don't have a savings account, and that makes you feel some type of way. You just want to start somewhere. Like $2. Put $2 in there, because what ends up happening is that energy ends up getting matched. So say you're like, I got $2 I can save, but what is $2 going to do? Well, when it compounds over time, it does something, but it's the act behind it. It's the energy behind it. So you take $2 right now, pull $2 from something and go and put it into your savings account, or open a savings account if you don't have it, and put that $2 over there, right? And you're proud and you're blessing yourself. And then whenever you get a little bit of something else, maybe it's $1, maybe it's $5, you put that over there. But what you're saying is you're starting work through that scarcity or that just enough, because now you're able to save, even if it's only a little bit. Or what is it that you can cut back on? Now, I'm a firm believer on both. You cut back and you increase, because I don't think that you can become wealthy and rich by just cutting back on your cable bill or cutting back on your Starbucks or whatever the case is. Now, I do believe that what the money that you cut back on and you take that and you invest can then you can become rich or like wealthy, right? By taking it, but it's not by just cutting back. But we all have to start somewhere. And especially when our nervous system looks at things as danger, 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 we say, okay, because if you downplay $2, then now I want you to use that as your advantage. Because if you think like $2 is nothing, and you're like, whatever, what am I going to do with this $2? Because you perceive that $2 to not be really worth much. So now we'll make it a little positive. So since you don't think $2 is really worth much, then you're not going to miss it. I need you to put that $2 over into your savings account, because it's the act behind it, and it's the energy, and it's the intention behind that. And it's saying like, you know what, I'm going to just pull this. No, even though I feel scarce or I don't have enough, I know that it's important for my future or for whatever, for me to be able to put something aside that I may be able to then take that amount and to invest and to grow that money, because I know that I deserve more than just every month being in this cycle of this loop, and just it's never enough. No matter how hard I work, it's still just never enough, right? So this little act will start to also help, with this capacity and this scarcity that we have. So if you're listening and any of this feels familiar, like you're feeling it in your body, you started to feel uncomfortable, or you're like, dang, that's me, I never thought of it like that, I want to leave you with a few reflection prompts. So one is, what's my earliest money memory? And what belief did I take from it? Really just grab, or even whatever's popping up in your head now, write that down if you're able to, or put it into like your notes. Like what is that earliest money memory? And then once you really start to like look at that memory and stuff, and you see it and see what the pattern is, you can see where it's showing up in your life. And then you get to ask yourself, was that my belief? Do I want to keep this belief, or do I want to invalidate this belief and be able to move forward? Number two, how do I react when money comes in? Do I hoard it? Do I spend it quickly? Or do I just let it flow? Really think about it. The third one, how do I respond to compliments or help? Do I deflect, downplay, or shrink? Your girl's gotten much better. Now when people give me compliments, I'd be like, I received that. Yes, I received that. Before, I'd be like so uncomfortable. I swear that it felt like I was actually shrinking in front of the person. But as soon as you give me a compliment, boom, I'm giving you one right back. I don't even take it. I'm not even saying thank you. I'm like, oh my God, your hair looks amazing too. Or like, really? Like, why am I shocked that they think this looks good? Clearly I do too, right? But I don't need you to highlight that. That's weird. That's strange behavior. Like, just stop it. I don't want to be seen, but I do actually really want to be seen. It's like that whole tricky thing. So I just started saying now, I received that. I received that. Even feeling uncomfortable, it's like, I received that. But because I've been working and practicing on that now, it's like, hey, thank you. That type of vibe, right? And the last one, if money is just energy, where am I treating it as heavier, scarier, or harder than it really is? You know what? I feel like I'm bugging. I feel like I went on a tangent with you guys about, and I never finished it. Oh my gosh, I don't think I finished it. So I'm going to go. Oh my gosh, this is how real and authentic I am. This is not being edited. That's just doing the most. We just keeping it real over here. I don't think I finished the sentence of when I said the easiest money that I made. And if I did and I'm bugging, you're just going to hear it again. Whatever. Don't judge me, okay? Thank you. All right, so the easiest money I ever made was when I started to use my spiritual gifts. So I was explaining the backstory a little bit of, 2018, and then I went into the whole cutting the cable, but I don't think I mentioned like why I said that was the easiest. So I started off with numerology, numbers. Like, the universe was talking to me through numbers. So then I started doing like guides for people where I would like, tell them what their life path number was, and their destiny number, and their soul urge number. And it was like this blueprint for them. So I just like created these guides, and started just doing them for free. Then just started like, oh, give me what you can, because I still had the money issue where I felt like, oh, I should not charge you for this, even though it took my time and things that I was learning to put together. I've still felt uncomfortable, charging. But my mentor, that was a psychic medium, she told me, she said, don't ever do it for free. She said it's an exchange of energy, because then you'll build yourself up where you won't be receiving anything. She's like, I don't care if you tell them to give you some cookies. It's an exchange of energy. So you're giving them this, and they're giving you that, and that creates that back and forth of that flow. And I was like, well, that's a great way. So if someone else had like this skill or something, I'm like, oh, we could just barter. That was me easing my way like into things. And then I started doing card pulls. And that was, just doing it. I don't want to say for fun, but also like building up my skills. And then I started doing readings, and then I was charging to do the readings, but it was very, very low, even though it was freaking draining me, right? And then I started building upon that, and then there was workshops, and then there were retreats, and then there was going deeper and creating, working with people one on one and doing these different transformations where we were really getting to the root of things through hypnosis and actually creating real lasting change. And people were paying for that. people were booking six sessions with me. And it was just send me the invoice, send me the invoice, send me the invoice. And I'd just be chilling in my house and people were paying me money to just talk to me. It was to the point that I felt like I was a fraud. Not because they weren't getting results, because they were getting results and they were telling me. They were like, oh my gosh, this happened. Oh my God, I listened to this. Oh my gosh, I did this and that. And not only are they saying it, I'm seeing it. The people that I did see, like on social media, I'm seeing them switching careers. I'm seeing them actually releasing the book and doing book tours. Like, what is happening here? I'm seeing them go to even higher levels in their business because they started working on themselves, right? They had nothing to do with the business, but it was a foundation within them. So I'm seeing all of this and people are paying me to just talk to them. Something that I would just do. I would say, I'm like, this is something I would do for free. I do this. And people who are really truly connected to me, it's like they get sessions every single day because I am who I am. I am a conduit. So I'm always going to be channeling and it's always going to be just like coming through. So I do this shit for free. And what you mean people are paying me? Here's an invoice. Invoice $1,500. Retreat here, this, there. And when I thought about it, I said the easiest money that I've ever made in my life since I've been making money was when I started to embrace my spiritual gifts and I used my natural gifts and talents. It was easy. But then I self-sabotaged it because it was too easy, because I had a core belief that you had to work hard. I would even say there's no way that I can become wealthy off of doing spiritual work. It doesn't even make any sense. And I anchored that belief down just like that original belief of I don't want to be rich because they're mean people, they're nasty people, and I don't want that to happen. Well, then I was like, well, I can't become wealthy off of like doing spiritual work. That just doesn't make any sense. And I just really just like believe that. And it was because of that belief of working hard. It was too easy. It was like this natural order of me. I just open my mouth and I say this. This person is receptive. They take that and they change. And they have real change in their life. And I'm over here like, this is weird. This is too easy. There's no struggle. There's no struggle at all. So I self-sabotaged and was like, I'm burnt out. I'm burnt out. Actually, I don't even like doing one-on-ones. It's so draining. It's so this, it's so that. But I love the results that the people get. And I love like when they say these things, because it's not about me, it's about them. It's about them just trusting and allowing themselves to feel safe safe in this space with me to actually take back leadership over their life. And I'm so proud of everyone, for doing this. But my own internal stuff was like, this is too much. I don't want to work with people one on one. I need to figure something else out. And as I was contemplating and starting to self sabotage, real estate popped up into my space. So got into real estate. So I got into real estate, and then I started slowing back from the spiritual work that I was doing. And I still had I would turn people down. They would be like, hey, are you taking anybody else? I have somebody that's looking. I'm like, no, I'm not taking any sessions. But then certain people that I really rock with would reach out and I'd be like, yeah, I got you. Because I had even took it off my booking site. And I was like, I don't have any time. I'm just really heavy into like doing these flips and stuff. And I go like all in on real estate. And then I end up in the worst financial situation I've ever been in. And I'm still dragging myself out this hole. And I'm like, wait a minute, what just happened? I thought getting into this real estate was gonna build my empire and it was gonna change this whole financial thing for me, and I was gonna be rich and then I was gonna be wealthy. What you mean I'm in a worse situation? This is weird, right? This is weird. But that was just a mirror and a reflection of my money beliefs. So I had to have this practical thing happen for me to look at it and put me in a very tough and uncomfortable position that I don't know about you, but if you ever like owed money or you were just in debt, like how did that make you feel internally? Did it make you feel guilty? Did you feel shameful, like you don't want to show your face, or I should be better than this, or I should have known better. And oh my gosh, everyone's looking at me, and no one's looking at you. People don't even know unless you tell them. And maybe people aren't even hounding you or anything, but this whole perceived thing for you is you feel less than. I experienced some of that, when that first happened. I experienced some of that. And that was just showing my self worth, that I tied my worth to what I had and what I did. And it's like, oh gosh, these things are painful, right? But this is how it is. And it's so you can work through whatever it is that is going through, and you can alchemize. You can take that pain, you can take that embarrassment, you can take that shame, and you can alchemize it and turn it into something else. And this is still part of internal work that I'm doing when it comes to money, because it's not money itself, it's the belief. Like I said, it's the belief around all of this. But the moment that it became easy for me, where I've always worked hard, like there was most of my time I was a single mom, and I started very young. I was pregnant at 16. I had my first child when I was 17. July of I turned 17 in May, and then I gave birth in July. So I was 17, and then at 21, I'm married and I'm gone to the military. So I know, quote unquote, hard. I know hustle. I know survival. I mastered all of that shit. And then here I am now, finally, with ease. I never really even thought about ease because I didn't know ease. All I knew was struggle, hard, just enough. That's all that I knew. So I wasn't even thinking like, oh my gosh, I can't wait till things are just easy. Like, what does that even mean when you've been through? I'm 21 in the military with 2 kids, going through boot camp, going through, I'm saying, that training. That's like, what the heck? So ease, that doesn't even make any sense. But then we fast forward, and here we are. Ease. I'm talking. I'm a communicator. Sometimes I'm just laying on my bed having a powerful conversation with someone who booked in my pajamas. They're crying because they finally feel safe enough to release all that trapped energy that they had inside. And here I am in my pajamas, laying on my bed, having this conversation with them, being a conduit, allowing God to speak through me, and saying the right analogy, giving the right, this and that for that person. And they're having a transformational moment over there. I mean, energy that's shifting through their body that's now turning into like action. And if in exchange for that, they paid me to do something that comes natural, something that, again, I do for free, guys. If you're just talking to me, shoot, even on podcasts, right? And it was easy, but my nervous system looked at it like danger because it was no longer familiar. There was no hustle, there was no nothing. I'm traveling. I mean, I'm going to like Dubai and Costa Rica in the same year. What? And everything was just beautiful. But then I self-sabotaged it because, again, my subconscious mind was like, this is not familiar. My nervous system was like, what are you doing? How are you relaxed? How are you chill? This is not normal at all. So you self-sabotage. And because of that self-sabotage, I felt so much pain in a financial thing. So there was points where I was like, I don't see a way out of this. The only way that I can get out of this is through God. It's through a miracle. That's it, period. It's through a miracle. Whole time God was like, baby girl, the gift is in you. You created this. So you can recreate something else. The same way, those same gifts that you have, that gift of making people feel safe and feel seen and heard and loved, and the way that you can take something that they've been struggling with and make it very practical and easy for them to digest, the way that you can show another person a different perspective and help them adjust the lens so they can see things a little different to actually create some change, or actually help them to accept responsibility for the role that they played in their own life. All of those natural gifts and things that you have, I need you to use them again. Doesn't mean people have to book a one-on-one session with you. I need you to speak. I need you to talk about scarcity. I need you to talk about struggle and self-sabotage. I need you to share your story. And I'm like, whoa, 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 God, now you're bugging. What you mean to share my story and let people in about my business? God, you already know I don't do that. So stop it. Stop it. I'm not putting my business out there. They don't need to know that. That's just weird behavior. That's not me. And God was like, I need you to stop making it about you. You've never been that person to make things all about you. You've always been of service. You've even gone through times of being a people pleaser at the detriment of your own mental health, right? So I need you to now step back and remember, we teach what we most need to know. And experience is the greatest teacher. So if you are going through something, do you really think that out of 8 billion people, you are the only one to go through that? Yes, you are special. But it's like, okay. All right. So you are experiencing this. So you can look back and you can help the next person. So it's not about you feeling shameful or feeling guilt or feeling like I should know this, I should know that. You were experiencing these things for the first time. So how do you expect yourself to know that you grew up with this as your foundation? And now this is different. Of course, it's going to feel a certain way. But I need you to know that you can alchemize everything that you have gone through and everything you are currently going through, because you are the creator of all those creations. And that creation doesn't mean the book that you did, the podcast that you have. It's the messy middle that you're in. The situations, the choices that you've made, the lack of choices, the people you chose to listen to, maybe without doing due diligence, whatever the case is. It's not about them, it's about you. So I need you to bring this back and accept responsibility for the role that you've played in all of this. See where you could have made a different decision if you had more information, and now you have that more information. So I need you to look at this, and I need you to transmute it, and I need you to help another person, and I need you to get over yourself feeling like, oh, I don't want to share this. I don't want to tell anybody because of whatever this is. But you sharing your story is now becoming someone else's survival kit that they can go from surviving to living. And then they're going to go from living to thriving. So I need you to show up. And this is like through different downloads and different things that would pop up and experience. I'm like, okay, God, I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. No more self-sabotaging. No more looking at ease as it's dangerous, because it's not. So here's what I know for sure. Money is not your enemy. Debt is not your identity. And scarcity is not your truth. Until next time. Bye, guys. Thank you for tuning in to Rebuilding Me, the sacred art of starting again. If this episode spoke to your soul, be sure to subscribe, leave me a review, and most importantly, share it with someone who's on their own journey of remembering who they are. And just know, you're not alone, and you never have to start from scratch. You're starting again, but this time with wisdom. Until next time, stay open, stay grounded, and trust your rebuild. And if you need help navigating this journey, make sure to visit www.tishamichelleofficial.com and book a sacred reset session.